Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is for the week of August 8th to the 15th. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, Leos, there's a link in the description box where you can find out your whole birth chart. And that way, if you want more information on top of your sun sign reading today, you can always check out your Moon and Rising sign readings as well. So this is a general reading. Whatever is most prominent in your life, I'll encourage you to take these messages and apply it to them. If you see something here that you're already aware of, consider that confirmation that you're headed in the right direction. If there's new information here or something you didn't consider was an opportunity or possible for you, consider that a message that you have options. So this is a general reading. Again, whatever's most prominent in your week. Hopefully you find these messages helpful in healing, Leo. So what does Leo need to know? I'm looking for 4 more jumper cards, and then we'll get a snapshot of the whole reading, and then we'll look at each card's position, and then I'll look at them up close with you in the camera, so you can get a feel for the coloring on the cards and any imagery that I'm not speaking to or that you intuit is important to you. So 3 more jumpers. All right, so we're not looking for a pile of jumpers. We just want 1 at a time, 2 maximum. All right, let's take these. They did jump out together. I'm going to take them. That happens once in a while. All right, so just a general snapshot of what's going on with regard to the whole reading here. Leo, we did take an extra card here, so there is a 6th. I'm going to be drawing on that card. Oops, where are we here? Here we go. I'll be looking at this as an overall energy around what's going on here. Just because these were sort of attached when they jumped, so I took them. All right, so generally speaking, what we're looking at is some ongoing energy that you might be driving yourself nuts with, a little bit of overthinking or paying attention or focusing rather on a portion of your life that isn't working as opposed to a portion that is working. We're looking at a never-ending story here when I'm drawing that out from the reading. And the round and round is what's sort of playing on each other here. This is sort of a circular event that could be holding you back. And I'm looking at it in terms of what you're focusing on with regard to the overall energy regarding these 2 cards is blessed, which is a focus. What are you focusing on? In terms of the other energies here, we're looking at a great deal of opportunity. We're looking at the law of attraction. This is a high energy card, what I would consider a major arcana card in the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, which is what we're using for the main spread today. And as always, I promise to use a card each from the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot to round this off. But we are looking at issues of the law of attraction. What are you bringing into your life? Essentially, we're looking at focus. This is a great, probably capital F focus is what we're looking at here with regard to the week, Leo. You're aware of something very intuitive, very deep, very psychic or wise. Here, having to do with the moon, we're looking at partnerships, pairs, deep wisdom, an authoritative wisdom. That doesn't mean an abusive power. It means authoritative wisdom. It means applicable wisdom that's survived throughout the ages when we're looking at this card here, the deep knowing card. And then just to focus briefly on all that glitters, we're looking at options. We're looking at how you're going about things and why, and what you feel is promised to you by behaving a certain way or by generating your energy in a certain way. So to indicate which card is in it, so that's the overall, and then which card is in each position, let's do that now, and then we'll look at them one by one up close. So we're looking at the All That Glitters card in your central position. This represents you this week, Leo. Again, this is just about how you're going about expending energy and what you seek in return for it. The idea here, or the concept behind all that glitters rather, is a sense of a public persona, how you're perceived, how you go about the world, and how other people react to you. Another really good term to use with regard to this card in a word is status. What is your status? Why? Where is it? Where do you belong? Why? That type of thing. It's the application of it, however. This isn't the thinking process so much here. If it were, we'd be looking at the why card itself, which talks to motivation behind behavior. This is about the actual behavior, the application of your projection. This isn't a thought process. This is more than likely subconscious or unconscious behavior. But how are you expressing your status? What do you think of it? What do you think it can do? What do you think it can get you? This type of thing. And ultimately, what is the trade-off for it? Okay, what are you, pardon me, what are you giving away or giving up for perceived status of any sort? Again, whatever is most prominent, and this is speaking to this week, Leo, in terms of perceived or real status. Okay, so let's move on to the what you're just leaving or bringing into the week in terms of energy. It's the deep knowing card, and like I said, we're looking at wisdom here. Generally, issues of wisdom, even psychic intuition, psychic power, knowing truths that will serve you if you focus on them. I love that this is energy that you're bringing into the week because a decision has to be made here. You need to decide essentially. And I mean, I could wrap this up in 2 minutes. I know it. I know just from what's going on here, I can say attention goes where energy flows, right? Okay, end of video. We could, or we could draw this out and look at some major issues around why this is occurring. Also, it would be really unfair to make this 7 minutes and everybody else is like 20. So let's flesh this out a little bit more. In terms of the what is working for you position, we have Treasure Island. This is the Law of Attraction card. This is capital L, capital A, Law of Attraction. This is where the instance of these attributes or lifestyles or belief systems exist. The way that we go about exhibiting love or hate, as it were, or forgiveness or resentment, as it were. So this has a great deal of energy going on here. It is the law of attraction, and it's what you may not understand that's going on here. This is in the what you may not be aware of position, is the never-ending story. This is something you're not willing to look at, but you have to be able to look at something, even if it's uncomfortable for a short period of time, in order to draw in exactly what you want. Again, a great deal of energy is going on focus. It could be that a decision needs to be made here. It could be that this is a feeling, and the feeling will become such an agitation that it'll lead you to make a decision, a conscious decision about how you are projecting or enacting status. But it looks like something is being avoided here. Again, I'm not speaking in terms of judgment. It's just looking as though as long as something goes unrecognized or unheeded or unhealed, then you will probably continue this theme. This theme will continue. A decision needs to be made around how you want to be perceived in the world and what you're willing to give up to do that. In terms of what you get back, okay? There's always a payoff. There's always a trade-off, right? No matter how we go about life, there's always, you give something up, you get something back, but it has to be fair for you and it has to be conscious. and you have to agree with it. This has to be consensual, not the way other people want you to act or behave or um, uh, respond, etc. Or even other people having an opinion about how you live or what you believe in, etc. This could be even deeper issues or matters here. Regardless, you have to get to the bottom of why it's more important currently for other people, right? The outside, the status portion of our life, to make your decisions for you, or to um, sort of guide the way that you go about behaving in the world. It looks like you need to take control of why you're going about the way you're going about things. Okay. Um, and that was the never ending story. The round and round is your probable outcome card. This just means that something is going to continue going around, but you get to decide what that is. And the energy, because we have this jump out on top of round and round, the energy is here again is about focus. You can create anything you want. That's not even just the cards or me saying it, that's just Holy Spirit, that's just the law of attraction, that's just reality. Whatever you focus on, you will bring about. You need to be really specific right now, Leo, because something is you're full of energy, right? You're full of this creative energy. You own the fifth house. This is creative energy. Your planet is the sun. This is all encompassing life. So if whatever you're putting your energy into is going to bring it about, you have to get to the point where there is a lack of fear here. All that glitters is could be speaking to that as well, where it's about assets, where it's about accumulation, and again, status. How are you being perceived in the world? Essentially, maybe ask yourself, what would you be, or who would you be without that status? It could be a really nice way of going about getting to the root of what causes you to behave this way, um, or to think this way, or even to think that status, as it were, as you define it, isn't available to you. Um, there is a sense of grief here in the position, what is going on sort of behind the scenes, or what you may not be aware of, that you need to address. Something needs to be faced here, something needs to be addressed here, or else, like I said, it'll continue. So let's look at these one by one together. We have the golden masks on top of this huge heap of golden nuggets. Again, when we're talking about status, this is really about how you represent yourself. But if you're doing it blindly, or you're doing it without thought or contemplation, it's going to look like, or even feel like, the way that other people, or society at large, if you will, want you to behave, want you to react, want you to sound, look, etc. But this is making you, this is wishy-washy for you. I don't think you're too settled here. I don't think this is fulfilling enough for you. Even if you do have current status, however you define that right now, I just don't think that's going to feel like enough right now. And I know that because what you're just bringing into the week, or what is up against this, is the deep knowing. I think that there is something deeper for you, something deeper and wiser, and perhaps even more spiritual, available to you, that you want to um, draw upon, that you want to make part of your daily world. And it could even be the difference between spirituality and science, the difference between intellectualism and intuition, etc. So we could be looking at two different worlds, so to speak. Not that one is better than or more important than, nothing like that. Because, like I said here with the all that glitters, there is an exchange, but this is natural. Nature exchanges. There has to be something given for the other. But there could be a sense of you're giving something up, as opposed to exchanging, and it's going to feel like a loss, but you know that something better awaits you, something different is available to you. And this is why, what is working for you, the law of attraction, you have the power of manifestation. There's no two ways about it. But we're looking again here between the air and the water. There's two different elements at play here, in and a great deal of emotional effort. So you could be emotionally tied to something that could be working against you, okay? And like I said, this is just sort of the introduction to it. I think this is probably an emotional, or even psychological, maybe spiritual, I don't think this is an intellectual pursuit at this time. This is something that I would consider you feeling or going about, acting or reacting to, as opposed to, sitting down and thinking hard about it or doing a whole lot of contemplation here. This might be the period where you just need to know that questions need to be asked, right? Or that something needs to be looked at more seriously in order for you to be more zen in the moment, more accepting of yourself in terms of who you need to be and who you're perceived as in the world. In the never ending story card is in the what you may not be aware of position. Like I said, she's just going through a series of whether or not she's loved. There is an issue of loving yourself here, and there is an issue of not being able to face something. So it's time to look in the mirror, Leo, and avoid judgment. I'm not speaking today about vanity or arrogance when I speak of love. Um, Two things, unfortunately, that could be considered could accompany fire signs in general. It's not even a negative thing necessarily, but certainly if you're on your own and there is a great deal of judgment here, and this is a mental, emotional, or spiritual matter, it's going to feel abusive, and then it's unfair. It is unfair to do this to yourself. So I think a decision needs to be made this week, Leo, that you're willing to face something that could feel like a little bit, or maybe a lot, like an albatross around your neck, okay? Something that's dragging you down, but you feel like you need to carry it around, or you need to atone, or something of that theme here. It could be that there's just such a great deal of disappointment here that you're unable to face things at this time. If that's the case, I am not, listen, I mean it. There's no judgment here. This is your clock. Everything's on your clock. It's just in terms of if you're agitated about this, what could be behind it. And it's just that this could be gnawing at you because you are aware intuitively that something needs to be addressed. But certainly that time will come. I think that if you're aware that something needs to be addressed, this could be more important this week than actually getting down to it. You could even need to prepare for it, right? To prepare for the feelings that are going to be generated when you look at something like this deeply, when you need to really face a resentment, or really face a drawback, or really face a motivation, or an assessment about something here. So I think the time will come to give yourself a break about getting to that position. It's probably new information for you right now, or it's probably that you're only able to get to the point that you are asking these questions. So everything is a process. Everything has a time. So please don't consider this, like a judgment call or a rush or anything like that. It's just that we're looking at bettering your life, making your life more sound and more enjoyable. And if that's the motivation, if that's the goal, just know that something still needs to be faced. Something critical needs to be faced here. In the probable outcome card, of course, we have the round and round. Again, this just means essentially something that's going to go over and over and over. It's actually really closely aligned, in my opinion, to Treasure Island, the law of attraction, and then the law of momentum here. So basically, what I ended up saying at the very beginning was this sense of what are you focusing on and why. So it could be what the work that you need to do is just asking those two questions over the next week. Leo, could help you out of some tight spots. It could help even lead you to asking even more appropriate questions on how to get yourself out. And then the blessed card. I'm going to consider this an overall energy card to the round and round, and then apply to the never ending story. There's just a level of what are you looking past? What are you taking for granted? What are you not paying attention to that is working? And not necessarily going into why, because we can beat ourselves up all day about why we don't do something. But so instead of saying why aren't you paying attention to what's working for you or what's going right, we could say what is it that's going right, and just start making a nice little beautiful list of what that is. And if you're anything like me and how I was a couple of years ago, that list had to start off pretty simple, like things like I can breathe, I can walk, I can open a window and have there's fresh air. Like if you need to get to that level where you're just thankful for the simple things, like the fact that you can see and hear, start there, because as that muscle grows, as you start making lists of things that you're grateful for every day, that list will grow. In a week, it won't be just that you can see. It'll be, oh, I laughed today, or I saw a beautiful flower today, or a week later, a friend called me that I hadn't heard of from in a long time, and it really made my day. And I tell you, in a year, that list will become magnificent, magnificent. You'll be thankful for things that you hadn't even contemplated. And then you'll look back in a year and think, man, a year ago, I was thankful like really simple things, and now I'm thankful for like gargantuan, massive things. So never take for granted the simple things, but certainly if you have to start there, if things are really gloomy right now, start small. Be grateful for this simple things. And we have the buffalo. This is prayer and abundance. This is why I'm speaking so heavily to this lesson about being grateful. Gratitude really is essentially healing. It's underrated, frankly, Leo, in my opinion, on how healing it can really be. Prayer could also be faith. It could also be gratitude. It could be a sense of just being thankful. If you're opposed to the term prayer, consider another term for it that works for you. And of course, abundance. Recall that the universe is abundant. We do live in an abundant universe. Anything that we have a chunk here. Let's get one. Anything that you truly want, Leo, and that you truly focus on for long periods at a time, with love in your heart and with good intention, you can manifest. Okay, so we have two. I'm going to take these two. We have soulmate. This is someone who's on your side. This is an earth angel. Soulmates aren't always lovers. If they are, beautiful. If they're not, consider a soulmate to be anybody, any age, anywhere. Could be an animal as well. It could be a stranger in a lineup in the grocery store who speaks to your soul for 30 seconds. It could be someone you've known for 20 years to really make a difference in your life. You decide who that soulmate is, but this is an important portion of your week, Leo. And then what did I say at the end of reading the Buffalo card? Manifestation. Everything is available to you. Everything is available to you. You know it. You know it. On a deep intuitive level, you need to trust it. Faith is important here. Trust that you have everything you need, Leo. Trust that you're worth it. Trust that you don't have to atone. There's no atoning. What you do now is you make everything better. You focus on making things better. There's nothing to do about the past any longer. You have everything you need. It's time to make amends with yourself. Who do you really want to be? Who are you projecting into the world? And is it worth it? So I'm going to leave it there. Please let me know how this works out for you. I'm genuinely curious. I mean it for all my signs. Let me know how this works out for you, if it made sense to you, if it was helpful. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel because I upload videos for your sign every single week. Until we meet next time, Leo, take good care. Bye for now.